Angel. He's from CIMAT, Guanajuato. He's going to talk about specialization of cycles and the K-theory elevator.
Well, thanks to Ernesto and the organizers for inviting me. It's a nice place to be, and it's a nice conference. Thanks to all of you for coming here. We are retired and we just have lunch, but thank you for coming. So let me try to, this is a joint work with a lot of people. Charles Donat, Matt Kerr, James Lewis, Yaya Iyer, Stefan Muller-Stack, and Deepan Patrick. It's still work in progress, so let me tell you what we have done so far. So let me first begin with telling you what the Higher cycle, Chow cycle is, and the Higher Chow groups. So take any quasi-projective variety, and then define the group of, just the group, free abelian group generated by irreducible subvarieties of codimension R. And then define delta M, which is the spectrum of this ring. It's like you should think of it like an algebraic version of poly whatever, which is isomorphic to the affine space. And then define the cycles on this group, but now for W cross delta M, such that met all phases properly, meaning the codimension is what you expect it to be. Right? You don't want it to be tangent, you don't want it to be contained with the phases and so on and so forth. Then Spencer Bloch considered the homology of this complex, and he called the homology of this complex the Higher-Chow groups for topic. There is an alternative definition, which is, well, this is a complex because you have a differential. You can restrict to every phase, and then you take the sum, the alternate sum of the restrictions. This constructs the complex, and then it makes sense to take the homology of the complex. There is another way to see this, an alternative definition, which is considered the so-called cubical version, P1 minus 1 point to the M. It's isomorphic to the affine line. But you don't want to, let me say. So you take some power of this, then you take the restriction to 0 and to infinity, take the difference. That's the differential will be the alternating sum of these restrictions. Right? Then again, you have a complex, and you can take. You have a complex, and you can take the homology of that complex. But there is a point where you need to be careful. So there may be something that when you project. If you forget one of the factors that you project there, things may go wrong. So you take the sum of the things that go wrong, that come from the phases, so to speak, and you mod out by that. So you actually take the complex given by the subvarieties of codimension R in W cross the cubic version, mod out by things that come from the phases. And this is again a complex, and the homology to construct the complex, and the homology of this complex is just the same. It's quite isomorphic to the previous one. This is a theorem of Bloch, and Bloch proposed the theorem, and there was a small mistake there, and Levy corrected this after some time. Well, if it follows, I will just write this instead of the C there. Right? So you will be thinking on this quotient. I will be working with the cubical version, but I will not write the C. Okay. Now, so this is a very nice homology theory. Especially if you have a smooth variety. an irreducible smooth variety. But in the non-smooth case, if you have a singular case, this theory is not completely well behaved. And you modify it a little bit, and this was done by Kanamura. So you take any quasi-projective variety, say your characteristic 0, because we need to work with the singularizations. And then you take a cubical hyper-resolution, like Guillen-Navarro. Instead of working with the hyper-resolution constructed by the NIM, which is principle infinity, you take the one given by Guillen and Navarro, and this is a finite cubical hyper-resolution. And then you can take this complex, which is a bicomplex, take the total complex associated with this bicomplex, and the homology of that will define the so-called homological Higher-Chow groups. The other one was homological, this is co-homological. Okay? For a smooth, and then you have a spectral sequence given by the different pieces above into the homological Higher-Chow. This has some properties, and I will show you some of them. I will mention some of them. So in particular, this has a ring structure. You can intersect things. This is covariant, contravariant, sorry, for any map between schemes. Is covariant for proper maps of relative dimension D. And for a smooth scheme, you just get the same. The hyper resolution by Navarro and Guillen is just the same scheme, so you get nothing new. Okay. Let me just show you one example. Assume S is Y cross Q, where Y is smooth and Q is a rational nodal curve. Then this will be a typical cubical hyperresolution. You have two embeddings of Y cross P1, namely to the Y cross 0 and Y cross infinity, and I am assuming that 0 and infinity are going down to the nodal point in S, in Q, right? So the spectral sequence, this spectral sequence, which is this spectral sequence, in this case degenerates at E2. And there's only one factor coming from here and one factor coming from here. The pullback between this and this defines the E2 term, and there is no other way to go. So it degenerates rapidly in E2. In particular, the homological Chow group for S will be the direction. Well, that's the general story. And now let me take a family. Let me take a flat family which is generically smooth over a curve. So over the generic point, this could be an honest curve, it could be just a discrete evaluation ring, whatever you want. Over the generic point, you have a variety which is smooth. Over the 0, you have something which has some singularities. So this is proper and generically smooth. Then you have two maps. One to the, which is just the restriction to the generic fiber, and one which is induced by the restriction to the special fiber. Okay? There's nothing surprising, but if we go back to this example, say now I even replace Q by a product of rational and nodal curves, then you can further project to this summand, and you could think of this as an elevator map. You start with some class here, which is coming from the class in the family, and then you are associating to that class something here in this special, in Y. So this is a piece on the N K-theory group of X eta, and this will be a class on the N plus D K-theory group of Y. That's why we call it an elevator. Now, so you take a class here, then you have the class in the generic fiber. You can also just intersect the class with X0, so you get a class in the homological Geiger-Chow loop, but you also have the class in the cohomological Geiger-Chow loop. And you have the three things. And you have Abel-Jacobi maps. So you have an Abel-Jacobi map from this group into the intermediate Jacobian. You have an Abel-Jacobi map from this homological Geiger-Chow group in the Jacobian for the singular variety. You have to be more careful in defining the Jacobian of the singular variety. But this has been done by Matt Kerr and James Lewis using distributions. And in the smooth case, the intermediate Jacobian is just this, the usual intermediate Jacobian. So let me think now on a family which is defined on the over the curve minus 0. You can think of this as a puncture disk. Then you have a cycle there. And you have local systems. Yeah? You have the constant system Qn over here. You take the Dirichlet image, some Dirichlet image, will give you a local system here. You can think of this as a variation of mixed structures. And you can consider the canonical extension to delta of this variation of mixed structures. Then you have the monodromy operator acting here to take the extension of the local system to delta to 0. Well, take this bundle that will define you the extension of the local system to 0. Then you take Berlin, like just is the fiber at 0 with the Hodge filtration and the weight filtration induced by the monodromy with the limit mixed Hodge structure. A higher normal function can be seen as an admissible variation of mixed Hodge structures, meaning we have an extension of the variation of mixed Hodge structure defined over S star, this one, and this constant Hodge structure over S star. You have an extension, and then you call this extension a normal function. There is another definition of normal function, but it's equivalent to given the extension. So the action of the nilpotent matrix associated to the monodromy extends to the fiber, to the local system here, and we have the Clemish-Smith sequence, exact sequence, where I just call this the map from the Hodge homology, the mixed Hodge structure on the fiber, on the special fiber, into the limit structure of the generic fiber. Then there is a canonical extension of the, so remember here, if you forget about the limit, you have Jacobian variety, intermediate Jacobian associated disk. So with the limit structure, using the monodromy filtration and the wave filtration induced by the monodromy, you can define here a canonical extension of the intermediate Jacobian, which is this one. And in particular, you can take the fiber of this on 0, we call it the limit Jacobian. And this map will use a map for intermediate Jacobians. So maybe I was too fast in arriving here. Let me go back some slides, sorry. The point is the following. You have this class which is living in the family, this class which is living in the generic fiber, and these two classes living in the special fiber. For this class, you have the Abel-Jacobi map, the usual Abel-Jacobi map. For this class, you have another average Jacobi map, and you want to compare the images of these two. But you cannot compare them like that because they are living in different places. So this is living in the average Jacobian of the generic fiber, and this is living on something on the special fiber. Right? So you need to do something in order to compare them. And this something is precisely this map. So you have something here, and you can interpret this as something living in here, which is on every fiber essentially. So the theorem is if you have a semi-stable deformation at 0 and a class on the puncture family, which is, let's say, homologous to 0 in order to be able to define the average Jacobi maps. If the images of the average Jacobi maps are admissible for generic eta, and the residue is homologically trivial as well, then the limit is living in the image of this induced map. Moreover, if the class itself is a restriction of a class in the family, I mean, if you can extend this class to the whole family, then the image of the limit of the average Jacobian maps is essentially the same as the Jacobian of the restriction to the special fiber, but now push it over to the generic fiber. And that's the theorem. Well, no, thank you. Okay, so this can be generalized. I just wrote it in the semi-stable deformation case. This can be generalized for any case. But then you need to be more careful about how you define this, this limit structure, this limit Jacobian. But you can do that. And there is also a theorem interesting. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
In the classical case, there's a finite group.
Yes.
Or in these general cases, is there a similar finite group that is sort of picking up the different components that you can get?
Exactly. So the point is precisely that's what I mean when I say that you have to be more careful in defining this. The monodromy operator will not be unipotent. It will have some the semi-simple part will have some order. Then you have to take a cyclic cover of the construction, the whole construction, and you go over this cover, or this cyclic cover. And there you define this not precisely on the original limit structure, but on the side of the structure defined over the cyclic cover. That's a nice idea. You know of whom.
More questions?